Welcome! Today we're diving into a fascinating and rather unsettling narrative from Robert Morningsky's work, The Terra Papers. It's a story that challenges conventional history, proposing an entirely different origin for humanity and our place in the cosmos. In 1996, a man named Devan George wrote, quote, "We are not alone. The astronomers are wrong. The scientists are wrong. They are here, but we cannot see them because they hide. They hide in plain sight. We are their servants. We are their slaves. We are their property. We are theirs." End quote. This sets a stark tone for Morningsky's account. Eloise, what exactly are the Terra Papers, and what makes this account so provocative?
Noah, the Terra Papers are Robert Morningsky's recounting of a history of Earth and humanity, as told to his grandfather by a star elder named Bakti. It's an extraordinary narrative that posits an alien influence woven into the very fabric of our planet's past and present. Morningsky claims this history was so radical, it nearly got him expelled from university and was rejected by the mainstream UFO community. The core provocation lies in its assertion that Earth is not only a prize in an ongoing galactic war, but that humanity itself was created and continuously manipulated by these external forces.
That's a massive claim. Let's start at the very beginning of this cosmic history. Morning Sky begins with the genesis of galaxies themselves. How does the Terra Papers describe the birth of a galaxy like Eridanus? And what happens once life begins to develop there?
The narrative paints a picture of creation from nothingness, where primordial essence violently streams outward, forming whirlpools that condense into gas clouds. These ignite into supernovas and stars, which then become islands in spinning galaxies. Eridanus is one such galaxy. Within Eridanus, stars give birth to worlds, and on those worlds, life evolves. Initially, single-celled organisms become multicelled, then complex beings. Fish humanoids, bird humanoids, reptile humanoids, mammal humanoids. From primitive Eridanus man in caves, societies grow into cities. Trading replaces hunting, and gardening leads to farming. What begins as needs evolves into desires, and then into greed. Compassionate leaders become conquerors, and a primitive world becomes civilized. This progress, however, quickly leads to conflict, with curiosity driving technology, but ultimately, arguments escalate into wars. The narrative describes Eridanus man conquering his own world, then his moon, and eventually neighboring worlds, leading to encounters with these diverse humanoid relatives.
So, a seemingly natural progression of evolution and civilization, but one that quickly spirals into galactic conflict. How do these various Eridanus man groups interact once they meet? Is there any period of peace, or does it immediately descend into war?
Initially, they gather, talk, trade, dance, and share, learning from each other and living together. It's a moment of interspecies cooperation. But this peace is temporary. The text states, quote, "and they went to war," end quote. The science of war replaces primitive conflict, and death becomes a tool of progress. Galactic kingdoms rise and fall in a continuous series of wars across the galaxy. Only one empire, we're told, endures for long.
And that enduring empire is the SSS Empire. Can you tell us about them? Who are these SSS beings, and what defines their civilization?
The SSS beings are described as the supreme masters of war in Eridanus, known for a hissing sound when they speak. Their empire reaches its zenith under the SSST queens, whose rule embodies royal power, even influencing the word for throne, ast. They are ruthless, efficient in cruelty, yet brilliant strategists. Their military, the MK or MG warriors, are tall, imposing figures with dragon-like faces, hinting at reptilian ancestry despite the loss of scales. Their appearance alone struck fear. The SSST queens learned that an executed enemy serves no purpose, but a reprogrammed brain eliminates resistance and adds to the labor force. So mind control becomes their primary science of choice. They're referred to by other races as the Ari, or Masters, eventually becoming the Aryan, which Morningsky says we now know as Orion.
That's quite a reveal, linking them to Orion. But there's a paradox here. If they're so brutal, how do they also become a center of culture?
It's a curious twist. In their pursuit of galactic power, the SSST warriors looted the treasuries of conquered worlds.
These cultural riches, poetry, music, art, dance, were put on display in Aryan's museums, making the empire a cultural and wisdom hub for the Ninth Sector. The text suggests this was, quote, a step, however unknowing, for the evolution of temperance in the SSST psyche, end quote. So even a brutal empire inadvertently cultivates elements that might soften its nature.
Fascinating. So what about the other major power in this galactic drama, the ASAR Empire?
The ASARR kings are presented as an equally formidable power, whose evolution was also driven by war. Their military forces, the DAC, included Aiku starship pilots with light beam weapons and Beh ground forces using sound weapons that could stun, disintegrate, or transport objects. Their science of war was called AT, which led to the creation of the ultimate warship, the RR, or R. This was a planet-sized globe, dubbed a death ship, capable of unprecedented destruction. It shone like a bright star in the sky, but its appearance foretold death and destruction.
So two powerful warring empires. How do they come to interact? And what's the outcome of that interaction?
The SSST queens, having learned that war kills winners and losers alike, sought a different strategy. They offered a peace overture to the ASARR kings. If ASARR pledged loyalty to the SSST High Throne and served them, they would be granted control of the outer stars of the Ninth Sector. Recognizing the immense power of this offer, the ASARR kings agreed. This alliance catapulted them to superpower status, with their stars becoming known as SSSST.RRRSSST, meaning Empire, born of the SSST, dying for the SSST, or simply SSRRS, which we now associate with Sirius. With the Arian alliance, they embarked on further conquests. The Arian queens, however, watched carefully, planning a betrayal for a later time.
A tenuous peace, indeed. This brings us to a crucial betrayal, reminiscent of something out of a Shakespearean play. What happens with Elder King An of ASRR and his brother, Al-Shar?
Life on ASAR prospered under King An thanks to the SSSR alliance, but the life of a king was perilous, constantly surrounded by treachery and plots. His own brother, Al-Shar, served faithfully as royal cupbearer and assistant governor. When the galactic Great Wars erupted in the Central Stars, King An was summoned to command combined MK and DK warriors, leaving Al-Shar in charge at the ASAR palace. Seizing the opportunity, Al-Shar staged a successful coup, immediately dispatching assassins to kill his brother. While historical documents claim An died heroically in battle, those in the ASAR court knew the truth. Al-Shar became King Al-Al, exiled Anshar, An's son and heir, and made An-Yu, An's grandson, his personal cupbearer, effectively a hostage. An-Yu vowed revenge, promising to one day reclaim the throne.
This tale of betrayal, ambition, and hidden power struggles has a striking parallel to human history, specifically the assassination of JFK. How does Morning Sky connect this galactic saga to events on Earth?
Morning Sky draws a direct parallel with the assassination of John F. Kennedy, suggesting that such betrayals and manipulations are not unique to alien empires. He describes Joseph P. Kennedy's deal with what he calls CIA mafia powers to secure his son's presidency, effectively putting the U.S. under shadow government control. When JFK, initially unaware, later discovers the black ops and drug trafficking links, he and Bobby feel an overwhelming sense of betrayal. They vow to fight the system, with JFK aiming to disband the CIA and end the drug trade, and Bobby targeting the mafia. This, according to Morning Sky, threatened the most powerful organizations in the world, Texas Oil, the military, the CIA mafia, who felt their agreement was broken. Both brothers are then assassinated. The text concludes that the world cried, not out of political agreement, but because, quote, everyone somehow knew we lost one of our own, end quote. This directly implies that the same kind of hidden, powerful forces that orchestrated ANN's downfall were at play on Earth, controlling leaders and eliminating those who defied them.
It's a chilling echo. Morning Sky also presents extensive linguistic evidence, claiming that ancient Egyptian, Sumerian, Latin, Spanish, and English words have direct AR, AT, AI, DTK, and MKMG origins, connecting to these alien concepts and names. What's the significance of these linguistic connections?
The significance is that these linguistic connections are presented as proof of the pervasive influence of these alien cultures on Earth. The argument is that the very names of these alien entities and their associated concepts, like AR linked to death and superiority, or MK, MG to crocodiles and protectors, are embedded in our languages across different civilizations. It suggests that these alien gods and devils weren't just visitors. They shaped human thought, myth, and even the words we use, making their history our history, unbeknownst to most. For example, the text connects AR to words like alter and war, and doc to dictator and decay, implying a deliberate, deep-seated imprint on human consciousness and culture.
So, the Star Elder's message to Robert Morningsky's grandfather is much more than just a historical account. It's a living reality for humanity. What are the key revelations and predictions that Bekti shares about humanity's past, present, and future?
Bekti's message is profoundly impactful. He states that star beings have been here since Earth was a barren rock, involved in humanity's creation and evolution, sometimes benevolently, sometimes not. They've been our gods and our devils, and they are still here. Morning Sky himself, Bekti revealed, was downed on Earth by enemy forces. This history, Bekti explains, clarifies human creation and our place in the galaxy, but at the cost of human nobility and pride. Phenomena like alien abductions and gray beings are integral to this history, tied to the star beings' purposes for humanity. The origins of mythological figures like Zeus, the Minotaur, Osiris of Isis are also explained within this framework. Looking forward, Bekti offers predictions not from psychic abilities, but from patterns of an ongoing effort to direct planet Earth. He foresees widespread images of asteroids and fiery comets, black pigs and angel figures everywhere, dinosaurs becoming children's heroes, and violence as the foundation of play. New airborne diseases will surface, immune to treatments, and NASA will be weakened or terminated. The most frightening revelation is that a galactic war of conquest rages over our heads, and, quote, Earth and man is the prize, end quote.
That's a truly sobering conclusion, positioning humanity as a pawn, or perhaps the ultimate prize, in an ancient alien conflict that echoes through our own history and even influences our future. Robert Morningsky's The Terra Papers presents a universe far more complex and controlled than most of us imagine, challenging everything we thought we knew about our place in it. If you found this discussion thought-provoking, share this episode with someone who enjoys exploring unconventional histories.
The lunar cities, he gazed at the stars beyond. Seeking more, he journeyed further, discovering neighboring worlds. He conquered new environments, and the cycle repeated.